Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening, and I think you'll enjoy this session. We've got a very special invite-only event for Stephen's offer to host for us. So in today's event, you're going to see some strategies that are working very well right now. So make sure you give Stephen your undivided attention and take notes if you want to. Um, and what you're going to see is very unique, and this is why we've asked Stephen to come speak with us tonight. You'll have to pardon my slurring my words. We're already drinking some nightcaps here at the lake, um, but I think you'll be very interested in what he has to say. He is full of energy, and so you're gonna have a blast tonight. So with that, Stephen, welcome to the Candlestick Forum. There will be his presentation, and he will do a good lengthy question and answer period at the end. So if you have questions, write them down because you want to hold off until the end. And so with that, Stephen, welcome to the Candlestick Forum. We're anxious to see your information tonight.
Thank you for having me, big guy, and thank you for everyone for attending this training. I apologize if it's a little bit going on in the background. I live in northern New Jersey, and there looks like a mini hurricane going on outside. But really quickly, if you can hear my voice and you can see my screen, which is some words on the left-hand side of the screen and a photo of myself on the right-hand side of the screen, you can hear my voice and see my screen, please give me a 77 in the chat. Okay, I want to make sure that this is all good, all pinned up. The audio and the visual is working excellent before we move forward. So see Jay, Chad, Niaz, Jay, KC, Adzi, Michael, Ray, Pablo, Erwin, C, Jason, Bill, Steve, Barron. All right, we got a lot of folks. This is fantastic. I want to welcome everyone to the training. How I beat the market investing just one day a week in 2018. Well, while that was last year, you all are going to be shocked just how profitable not only these methods have been so far in 2019, but just how profitable they have been this week. So before we get started, we all kind of know that there are two groups of people when it comes to investing in the stock market. And you have this first group, and they have shiny object syndrome. They chase every different strategy and tactic. They try to day trade, they buy high, and they sell low. Now the second group, they're patient. They're conservative yet consistent. And they go for the best resources, the best knowledge, and the best strategies, and they are selective. Now, that second group, that is the group that I've been a part of my investing career. And after kind of speaking to Steve about all the folks who would be on this training, I know that you too are part of that second group. And because you're part of that second group, I have something that I think is right up your alley because this is the kind of stuff that we look for. So here's what you're going to learn during this training. You are going to learn how to beat the market investing just one day a week, but you already knew that, right? You're also going to learn how the top 1% of all investors are able to make money each and every year. And trust me, folks, you can absolutely do this too. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this while completely bypassing having to know about charts, balance sheets, Fibonacci, technical analysis, Ichimoku clouds. For what I am teaching you on this training, you do not need to know any of that. And finally, I'm going to show you how to scale up your investments and put it on semi-autopilot. Now, folks, my big promise to you for being on the training with me is, first of all, you are going to have a blast. This is a ton of fun. And as I said, these methods were very profitable in 2018 and are even more profitable in 2019. So you definitely want to go ahead and pay attention. Now, if you are brand new to investing, I promise if you pay attention to me for the rest of this training, I promise not only will you feel the stock market is way simpler than you thought, but you'll be able to start making your first profits immediately following this training. Now, folks, I know we also have folks who are not new to investing. So if you too commit with me and pay attention for the rest of this training, I promise you'll be able to add these methods to your already arsenal of ideas. But why is this important? Why is this important right now? Well, here's the deal. If I give you one idea, just one solid idea, it could very well change your financial future. Because the reality is you are just one trade away from financial freedom, and I hope to be able to share that with you right here and right now. But first, are you in the right spot? So if you are new to the stock market and you want to jumpstart your success, then this is for you. Now, if you are an experienced investor and you want a big time income boost, then this is for you too. Now, if you're looking to supplement or replace your income, or if you're looking to achieve financial freedom, then this is for you. And finally, if you need a specific step-by-step plan and want to avoid learning it on your own, then this is for you. Because this is something anyone can do, even very part-time. Now, guys and gals, I hope you are starting to feel like you are in the right place. If you are in the right place, let me know by giving me a big fat 44 right now in the chat. I want to make this as interactive as possible, so please give me a 44 in the chat if some of these sound pretty good to you. So see George, Niaz, Chad J, KC, Michael, Paul, A, try to Alan, Jeb, Rick, Frank, Peter, Pablo, Joe, Delv, Jason, AP. We got a lot of folks right. This is going to be a big fun one tonight. So folks, here's the deal. My goal for this training is to make this training worth at least $5,000 to your investments. Let me repeat that one more time. My goal for this training is to make this training worth at least $5,000 to your investments. And look, these are my top strategies, and I've done them for years, and they work. So there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to get that kind of value if you pay attention for the rest of this training. So my ask is that you treat this training as if you paid $5,000 to learn this. And what this really means, look, is you can't be half interested. I know you have every opportunity in the world to be distracted with preseason NFL or those things that don't actually add money to your pocket. But if you want to get that $5,000 of value, you have to commit with me right here and right now. Now, full transparency, I don't want anyone to have any anxiety about what's going to happen at the end of the training, okay? We do have a community called Market Hero that I will extend an exclusive invitation to you for being part of this training with me today. But you should know that if you want to come on board at the end of the trainings, there's going to be a ton of incentives and a giant discount, which I'm going to go over very, very quickly. So what you're going to get is the core training, which is everything you need to make money and save time doing so in the stock market. This is the single biggest theme for the training which you are on right now, making more money and saving time doing so. You're also going to get exclusive access to our private Facebook mastermind group and our weekly live webinar trainings. Now, folks, on my website, this currently retails for $5,000. But again, because you're here with me right now, there's going to be a ton of incentives and a giant discount. So the decision will be completely up to you at the end, but I just wanted to be 100% transparent so you can focus on the training and not worry about what comes next. And again, I promise you that if you pay attention, you are going to get that $5,000 of value out of this. Does that sound like a fair deal to you? Perfect. Thank you, folks. So how's this going to work? Well, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about who I am, maybe 30 seconds worth. Then you're going to hear from a few of my clients and students, and you're going to learn what they did to crush it in the market. And again, folks, you can absolutely get those exact same results. Now, here's the deal. Our most successful trainees have been our most active trainees. So feel free to ask away. And the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to pause a few times during the actual training to answer some questions that are pertinent to what we're talking about at that point in time. And if we don't get to all your questions during the actual training, like Steve said, we're going to stay on at the end, and we're not going to leave until everyone's questions are answered. So who's this Stephen Brooks character that's been talking for the last handful of minutes? Yes, that is me in the top right corner of the screen. I am a former professional baseball player, and I did play in the Kansas City Royals organization. Now, that was a former life. Since then, I've made over $1.5 million of profits in the stock market. I'm currently an investing coach with clients all over the world who have a combined $21 million under management. I'm also a traveler, a sports fanatic, and a foodie. Now, before we get into this, what makes this different than all the other presentations you've been on before and all the other presentations you will be on in the future? Well, here's the deal. We are not going to be talking about charts or balance sheets or the Fibonacci, okay, or trend lines or indicators. We're not going to talk about any of that whatsoever. Everything that I teach you can be implemented immediately by a beginner or expert. And the way we do that is we focus on unsexy or quote unquote less risky methods that have worked for years, and as you all will see, are backed by years and years of data. And it's totally cool that I teach you all this because, as we all know, the stock market is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, so there's enough bread to go around for everyone. And finally, you all know the drill. This is not a get-rich-quick thing, okay? I don't think I need to go into more detail. Nothing in life is. I think you all understand that, okay? This is not effortless earnings. You will need to pay attention during the training. You will need to limit your distractions. You will need to take notes, ask questions, and take action on these methods following this training. Okay, but just because these methods are less risky does not mean that they are risk-free. And finally, my results are not typical. However, I will walk you through some of the methods that I'm using to get great results. But please, again, folks, understand that my results are not typical. And as always, there is real risk in trading stocks, futures, options, cryptocurrencies, real estate, Pokemon cards, whatever. And while investing does have potential for some large rewards, there is also potential for real risk. So please absolutely consult your registered financial advisor before placing any trades or investments, and do not use any funds which you cannot afford to lose. So the pleasantries are over, folks. We are now getting into the meat and potatoes. So if you did not have a paper and pen out before, you want to go ahead and do it now. You will be taught 2 setups on this training. Now quickly, Stephen, what is a setup? Well, imagine you're sitting in your car and you're at a red light. You're not going anywhere. But all of a sudden the light flashes green. Okay, that is the setup. And what happens when the light flashes green or the setup reveals itself to us? Well, we go ahead and drive on through the intersection. Okay, that is exactly how simple these methods that I'm going to be sharing with you today are. And as you can see, this presentation is really short by design because we are taking all the hype and all the fluff and we are completely throwing it out. This is really an instructional training with pure value, and it's kind of how simple my system is. Now, folks, before we get started, I want you to know these methods, they work hands down. So I need you all to do me a favor, okay? I need you all to promise me that after I share my top 2 secrets with you, that you go out there and take action on them immediately following this training. So give me a 55 in the chat if you promise to take action on these methods immediately following this training. I want to see who the action takers are on the call right now. So if you promise to take action, give me a 55 in the chat. Just like Niaz, Chad, Brad, Michael, Jay, Mitch, George, Jason, Azzy, John, Joe, Pablo, Jason. We got a lot of action takers. Peter, Del, C, Kareem, Gail, Tim, Sean, Frank. So we got a lot of action takers. This is going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we're all going to get a ton of results. So let's jump right in. Setup number 1, folks, and I call this the weekly setup, okay? Here's a current student of mine by the name of Matt. Now, I met Matt because Matt came to one of my trainings back in December of 2017. He was interested in learning how to make money in the market as a ways to achieve financial freedom. Now, financial freedom means a lot of different things to a lot of different folks. But what I meant for this young man was getting rid of his $55,000 of student debt. So he came to the training again back in December of 2017, and we taught him this weekly setup, which is the exact same method I'm going to be sharing with you in about 2 minutes time. So he went out there in 2018 last year, and all he did was the weekly setup. So I actually reached out to him a couple days ago. I said, hey, Matt, how did it go in 2018 with the weekly setup? I'm giving a presentation to a group of awesome traders and investors, and I'd like to tell them exactly how you did. And here's what he said. He said, in 2018, my first trading year ever, I had a positive return and dominated the market. I can't believe I made money in that nasty bear market. In fact, then I said, okay, send over my results because I don't want to tell these folks anything that is not 100% accurate. So actually earlier today, I looked through his results from last year, and as it turns out, Matt actually had a 102% return in 2018. You know, give me a 102 in the chat if you would have loved to have a 102% return in 2018, just like Matt did. Exactly, folks, exactly. Those are great returns. Who wouldn't want big returns like that, more than double your money? So here's the deal. When breaking down stock market returns, it turns out that there are days of the week which are consistently profitable and also beat the market. Now, in order to locate this profitable setup, we must figure out what days they are, folks. And the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and loss by day in the overall stock market, we have found a winner. Now, what are we looking at here on the left-hand side of the screen? Okay, we are looking at S&P 500 returns from 2000 to the beginning of 2019. Now, quickly, what is the S&P 500? Okay, it is an index, a basket of 500 U.S.-based stocks from many different sectors. So it's a very good overall summary of the stock market. So we're looking at that information broken down in a few ways. The first thing to take a look at is the black line, okay? That is the overall market, again, from 2000 to the beginning of 2019. And then we have it broken down by individual day of the week. First, we have the red line, which is Tuesday, the blue line, which is Thursday, the green line, which is Wednesday, the gray line, which is Monday, and the gold line, which is Friday. Very simple, very straightforward. And I know it's clear, it's very clear to me. And I know it's clear to you too that since 2000, so the last 2 decades, investing on Tuesdays only would have resulted in an investor beating the overall market. Okay, that's the setup. So how do we take advantage of that? Well, what we're going to do is before the market closes on Monday, and the equity market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So before that happens, we're going to log into any online brokerage account. We're going to type in these 3 letters, SPY, and we're going to click those big green buttons to buy as many shares of that stock as we can. That's how we get in. Okay, then how do we get out? Well, before the market closes on Tuesday, we're going to log back into our accounts. We're going to type in those 3 letters again, and this time we're going to click the big red buttons to sell all the shares of stock that we bought the day before. Let's repeat that one more time. At the end of the day on Monday, we're going to buy. At the end of the day on Tuesday, we're going to sell. And since this has worked very well over the last 2 decades, we're going to repeat that, right? So we're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, on our calendars. We're going to add sticky notes to our computers. But let me ask you a question right now, folks. Whether you are a beginner or a pro, can you do the weekly setup, right? At the end of the day on Monday, can you log in? Can you type in just 3 letters and can you buy? At the end of the day on Tuesday, can you sell? Because if you had done that strategy, folks, since 2000, you would have beaten the overall returns in the market. Now, I see a lot of people in the chat right now. I see Jeremy, I see Roger, and I see Leanne saying, well, how does this work in a bear market? Well, take a look at the screen. I can see that my cursor is highlighted in red over here. As the S&P 500 in 2008 and 2009 was selling off and selling off very hard, not only was Tuesday not selling off, but it was profiting at will. In fact, as the market was selling off in the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, Tuesday was profiting at will. And last year was not a straightforward year. Some of these headlines: stocks plunge as market enters correction territory. Dow plunges 1,175 points. Worst point decline in history. In fact, that week, which was February 5th, the S&P 500 was down 5.16%. But folks, Tuesday of 1.74%. Or how about the week of March 19th? Even worse. The S&P 500 is down 5.95%. But folks, Tuesday, the only green day. But that's not all, folks. That is not all, because Tuesday, yes, does, as we see, beat the overall market. But Thursday looks pretty good, and Wednesday doesn't really break the bank, and Friday absolutely stinks. So within this data set, there are actually quite a few strategies that you could do to take advantage of this. Now, yes, you can go out there and just buy SPY. However, last year, if you bought calls, you would have had a 187% return on your entire portfolio. If you bought call spreads, a 144% return. If you sold puts, a 49% return. If you sold put spreads, a 102% return. All that compared to the overall market, which was down 6.24%. Now, folks, that was last year. How about 2 days ago? How about just this week? The S&P 500 on Tuesday of just this week was up 37 points. Really cool. Buying calls just 2 days ago. $100 turned into $410. $500 turned into $2,050. Or if you just bought call spreads, for example, $100 turned into $200. $500 turned into $1,000. And my members of Market Hero did absolutely amazing. David sent me a note. He says, it was the easiest 24 hours of my entire 25-year trading career. I bought when you said, sold when you said, and made the most amount of money I ever had in a 24-hour period. I'm going to take the extra cash and take my wife out for a nice lobster dinner this weekend. Stephen, thank you again. I am finding Market Hero to be indispensable to me. Well, David, I hope you enjoy that lobster this weekend. Well, what about Kenneth? He says, Stephen, this was so simple and exactly like you said. I bought on Monday PM and sold on Tuesday PM and made a grand total of $1,890. We're only risking $250. Which may not be a lot to you, but it's huge for me and my family. This is amazing. Keep them coming. Absolutely, folks. So that is the weekly setup. If you do have any questions, we're going to pause here for a minute or so. And if you do have any questions, go ahead and pop them into the chat, and I'll be happy to answer as many questions as I can before we move on to the next bit of content. So I'm just going to take a swig of water, and then I'll get to as many questions as we can. Question from Pablo. Excuse me, that's Mitch. Can you buy options? So if we go back to just 2 days ago, right? If we bought calls, $100 turned into $410. $500 turned into $2,050. And if you'd like to know like which delta and all that stuff, I'd be happy to spend a lot more time with you, Mitch, at the end of the training to be able to kind of walk you through that a little bit. Very cool. Mitch, do you buy specific delta? Yeah, let's definitely ask that at the end of the training. I'll be able to spend a lot more time with you on that. Mitch, so is that okay? Let me know in the chat if that's okay. Use stops. Sure. So we only use stops when we buy stock, and that's at 0.75%. Which options expiration do we use? Sure. So let's think about it this way. If we're going to put on a trade which requires us to get long at the end of the day on Monday and hold till the end of the day on Tuesday, we would want to do it in an expiration that is very close to the end of the day on Tuesday. For something like SPY, that is that Wednesday weekly expiration. Very, very cool. Do puts outperform calls? No, they do not. No, they do not. How do you get this data? Yeah, so I personally employ 3 data engineers, and I personally purchase this data directly from the exchanges. So I'm able to kind of crunch those, numbers as I please, and sometimes we come up with something really cool like this. What is the win rate on the weekly setup this year? Sure. So far in 2019, there have been 28 tradable weekly setups, and 23 of those have been profitable. So a little bit higher than 80%. Yeah. Just to be clear, you are buying as many of the SPY stock you're comfortable with? Yes, absolutely. So again, like we mentioned before, don't go crazy, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. Casey says, should you buy the call or sell the put? That's completely up to you with what you're comfortable with. Gail, are you buying at the market? Well, again, that depends. Again, this strategy can be taken advantage of via buying stock or via options. So if you bought stock 2 days ago, you would have made, depending on how much size you use, a few $100s to a few $1,000s. Then obviously you're seeing right here what happens if the calls and all that stuff. 23 out of 28 opportunities. What are conditions for not buying? So the only time we don't buy is if there is no Monday open. Okay. So Michael said, if you do this every week, shouldn't there be 50 to 52 setups? Sure. So there have been quite a few. There have been, I think, 3 or 4 weeks where there was no Monday to trade. Thus, we don't do it. And again, we're not through the entire year yet either. Cool. So I see Kareem, I see Jim, I see Casey, Pablo, Jason. If you all are okay asking some of your questions now at the end of the training, I think we're moving at a really good pace and we're using good momentum. So Frank too, let me know in the chat if you are okay asking those questions at the end of the training. I'll be able to hang out as long as everyone needs at the end of the training, but I don't want to lose any momentum. So let me know in the chat if some of those folks, also Ray, Kareem, Jim, if you're okay asking those at the end of the training. Very, very cool. And do me a favor, before we move on to the next bit of content, give me a 77 in the chat if you liked the weekly setup. Okay, if you like the weekly setup, give me a 77 in the chat. Fantastic. Niaz, see you, Jay, Kareem, George, Brad, Frank, Tim, Jeremiah. We have Michael, Sig, Bill, Ozzy, Chad, Jason, Pat, Bob, Pablo, Peter, Joe, Joel, Paul C, Pradrip, Del, Brad, Jim, John. Sounds too simple, LOL. But again, you guys know what the market did 2 days ago. Numbers don't lie. John, AP, Jim, Sean, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, very, very cool. And that was Q&A part 1. Now, setup number 2, and I call this the trend setup. Now, here's a current student of mine by the name of Bob. And I met Bob like 7-8 years ago through a former baseball players alumni network. You can see he's a Chicago Cubs fan. And Bob was really interested in the market as a way to supplement his income because as a mechanic, he had not gotten an increase on his salary for over a decade. And he really wanted to learn how to invest, but he did not know if he had enough time to devote to it. So he said, hey, Bob, let's you and I meet on like a random Saturday morning. I know you like to get up really early in the morning, so we can meet at like 6 a.m. if you want. But let's meet for an hour. If you like what you see, We can set up some sessions for months down the road. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. So he said, okay, Stephen, I'll take you up on that offer. So we met on a Saturday morning. The first 30 minutes in that session was spent setting up his first ever online brokerage account, because at that point, he did not even have one. And the second part of that session was spent actually teaching him this trend setup, which is the exact same method I'm going to share with you in about 2 minutes time. So he said, you know what, Stephen, you're right. It does only require me to take a look at the market just 1 day a week. And even with my limited abilities, this is definitely something I think I can do. So let's set up some sessions for a couple months down the road, and let's go from there. And I was excited. I was really, really excited to have someone that wanted to work with me, but I was so crushed when Bob never showed up to any other sessions, and I could not believe it. I was doing the trend setup. It was working very well for me, and I could not believe he was blowing me off because I had so much more where that came from. So finally, like 18 months, 2 years down the road, I get a random email from Bob, and he goes, hey, Stephen, it's Bob. I'm so sorry for blowing you off. I should have responded to you and told you that I didn't need to meet. But the reality is I never needed to meet with you again, because I made 41% investing in the last year just using the trend setup. Now, give me a 41 in the chat if you would like to make 41% on your investments in the next 12 months, just like Bob did. Let's see those 41s in the chat. Exactly. Fantastic. Kareem wants 100. I like that. Well, it's very, very possible, actually. So how did he do it? Well, he did the trend setup. So here's the deal. When breaking down stock market returns, it turns out that there are weeks in every year which are consistently profitable and have minimal drawdowns. Now, in order to locate this profitable setup, we just figure out what weeks they are. And folks, the good news for you is we have. So in breaking down the profit and loss by week in the overall stock market, we have found a winner. Now, what are we looking at here on the left-hand side of the screen? We are looking at, again, S&P 500 returns, but this time from 1990 to the beginning of 2019. So 30 years worth of data. Now, it's broken down via two ways. First is the gray line. That is your buy and hold S&P 500. So if you bought it on January 2nd, 1990, you would have made a bunch of money, lost half. Made a bunch of money, lost half. Made a bunch of money, and it's anyone's guess where we go from here. Now, the orange line, that is the trend setup. And do not worry if you don't understand it 100% the first time. I'm going to repeat this ad nauseum. But the orange line, the trend setup, is weekly returns in the S&P 500 that follow a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3%. So we went back in the data set, and if we ever saw a week which was down between 0.5% to -3%, we would take the returns of the following week, okay? Now, it's very clear to me, and I know it's clear to you, that since 1990, 30 years, investing in weeks following a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3% would have resulted in the investor getting market gains without any of the major losses. Okay, simple enough. So how do we take advantage of that? Well, here's what we're going to do. When the market opens on Monday, or sometime before then, we're going to check and see if the previous week in the S&P 500 was down between -0.5% to -3%. And if it was, we're going to log into any online brokerage account. We're going to type in those three letters again, SPY, and we're going to click that big green button to buy as many shares of that stock as we can. Okay, that's how we get in. Okay, now how do we get out? Well, if we did end up buying on a Monday morning, we're going to hold the position for the entire week, and we're going to sell the position before the market closes on Friday. That's it. So how do we do it one more time? At 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time every Monday, if the S&P 500 was down between 0.5% to -3% the week before, we're going to buy. And if we did buy on a Monday morning, we're going to hold the position for the rest of the week, and we're going to sell it before the market closes at the end of the day on Friday. And again, folks, you just saw how well this worked over the last 3 decades. So we're going to repeat that. So we're going to set up these weekly reminders on our phones, on our calendars. We're going to add these sticky notes to our computers. But let me ask you a question right now, folks, beginner or pro. Can you do the trend setup, right? Can you log in on the Monday? Can you type in 3 letters and can you buy? At the end of the day on Friday, can you sell? Because if you had done that strategy, folks, since 1990, you would have gotten market returns without most of the major losses. And drum roll, please. Returns of over 1% per week. In fact, here's how the numbers actually break down. In the last 30 years, the average percent gain per week in the S&P 500 has been about 0.20%. But the average percent gain per week in the trend setup, 6 times greater, up 1.21%. And potentially even more impressive, the largest 1-week loss in the S&P 500 going back to 1990, down 9.03%. But the largest 1-week loss in the trend setup, only down about 2%. Now, again, I see a lot of folks in the chat right now. I see Rachel, I see Raymond, I see Larry saying, well, Stephen, how does this work in a bear market? Well, take a look at the screen. In the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, which is what we're looking at right now, while the gray line, the S&P 500 was selling off, and again, selling off very hard, more than 50% at its worst, not only was the trend setup not selling off, but it was profiting at will during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. But that's not all, folks. That is not all. Last year, we saw the trend setup occur 9 times. We had 7 winners. We had 2 losers for an average return per week of about 1.03%. For a total return of the year, 9.27%. If we compare that to the overall market, which was down 6.24%. And yes, you could have went out there last year and bought stock, and as you saw, beat the market. However, in 2018, if you bought calls, a 147% return on the entire portfolio. If you bought call spreads, a 75% return. If you sold puts, 42% return. If you sold put spreads, a 108% return. Now, does anyone remember the last week in the S&P 500, which was down between 0.5% to -3%? Exactly. Last week in the S&P 500, it had a negative 2.12% return. So this Monday when the market opened, we went ahead and got a long position. And since the open on Monday, the S&P 500 is up over 50 points. So far this week, buying calls, $100 has turned into $392. $500 this week has already turned into $1,960. Now, buying call spreads. So far this week, $100 has turned into $250. $500 has turned into $1,250. And some of our members of Market Hero did even better. I got a note from Martha. She says, Stephen, I told you on the webinar I attended a few months ago, I thought the trend setup was too good to be true. But sure enough, the first time I tried it this week, I have made over $4,300 profits. For someone who has been in the market for decades, I just cannot believe it went exactly as I hoped it would. That never happens. What about Harold? Harold says, I signed up on 8/2. That was last Friday. That week ended with SPY down between 0.5% and -3%. So I made a trend trade on Monday. Today I closed my position for a 74% gain in just 3 days. Plus $1,480 for me. And this person joined Market Hero less than a week ago and is already up $1,500. So that was the trend setup, ladies and gentlemen. We are now at the second Q&A. So if you do have any questions specifically about the trend setup, do me a favor, pop them into the chat, and I'll be happy to hang around for a couple minutes before we move on to the next bit of content. All right, question from Martha. Stephen, this is the most amazing and simplest strategy I've ever seen. How and why are you giving this to us for free? So Martha, thank you for that. I'll say a couple things. Look, number one, it should be pretty clear that I love teaching this. I just love teaching this. Number two, I have so much more where this came from, it would like make your head spin. So it's no big deal if you and me and all you other folks on this call know this. And the last thing I'll say is, the stock market is so big. There's like tens of billions of dollars exchanging hands all day, every day. So it would take, hundreds of billions of dollars all doing the exact same thing as all of us at the exact same time for this to become saturated. So I appreciate your questions, and thank you very much for the kind note. Question from Larry. Stephen, do you send out an alert to your members of Market Hero for where the trend setup is to go? Yes, we do. That's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but for example, I'll take you back to Monday morning. Not only did we tell them that the trend setup was to go, but I also told them the exact trade I was doing. Cool. Let's see. What if it's down more than 3%? So if the S&P 500 for a week is down more than 3%, the trend setup specifically is not a go. However, there are plenty of other things to do, but just the trend setup specifically is not a go. And I think if we go back to last year, there were probably 5, 6, 7 weeks in the S&P 500 which were down more than 3%. Again, there are other things to do, but the trend setup is not a go in those situations. Let's see. So is your alert telling us what to buy and when, like stock versus call? So Brad, that is what I do for my members of Market Hero. Not sure if you're asking about that though. Bill B, would it be better to get out on Thursday rather than Friday? So Bill, here's the deal. Like when we look at these data sets and we look at these studies, we don't really compare them or add them together. What we do is they're all done independently of one another, right? I personally, if we look at this week, for example, right, it's quite easy. I just bought when the market opened, or I put in a position when the market opened on Monday, and that's it, right? I don't like to combine everything because that kind of overcomplicates things for me. I like it very, very simple, and the results of being very, very simple, as you can see at least this week, were tremendous. Let's see. Does this work with buying stocks since I do not do options? Yes, absolutely. All the methods that I showed you on this training can have been able to be done with stocks and options. So let's say, Gail, we went back to Monday morning and you bought stock. Depending on how many shares you were able to buy, you would have made either a few $100s to a few $1,000. And then you can see the options returns as well on the screen. Let's see. Which options expiration do we do for this? So again, we want to do it in those Friday weekly expirations. What about QQQ? Sure, good question. So for those that aren't aware, QQQ is the NASDAQ Index ETF, the technology and the biotech stocks. And I do have those. I do have those numbers for my members of Market Hero, but I don't have them in front of me, and I don't want to give you anything that is not 100% accurate. So what I will say is that the NASDAQ, the Dow, they all move very similar to the S&P 500. So again, while I don't have those numbers in front of me, again, the returns of something like the NASDAQ is going to be very similar to what you see on the screen. The trend setup is a bullish strategy only. Yes, it is. And again, in bull and bear markets, it's done incredibly well. There are plenty of bearish strategies to do out there, but this is a great bullish strategy that worked just this week when most people were trying to run for the fences this week. Does that make sense, Robert? Cool. Now I see some other folks like Michael, like Tony, like Z, like Brad, like Bill, like Mike. Let me know in the chat if you're all okay asking those at the end of the training, your questions. I want to make sure we're able to continue to move at a good pace. So please let me know in the chat if you're okay asking those questions at the end of the training, okay? Fantastic. Now, while I take this last swig of water, do me a favor, just so I know we're still moving at a good pace and everyone's still enjoying this training. Okay? While I take this one last swig of water, give me a 1 in the chat if you've enjoyed this training so far. If you learned something brand new, if maybe you had an aha moment, or if you feel like you wish you knew these strategies months and years ago, or maybe you're starting to feel like there's a better way to go about it. While I take this one last swig of water, if you feel like you fall under any of those categories, give me a 1 in the chat. Just want to make sure we're still providing a lot of value and we're moving at a great pace for everyone. All right, fantastic. We got Chad, Z, Brad, C, Diaz, Steve, Jim, Peter, Pablo, James, Gail, Jason, Mitch, KC, John, Paul, Alan, Pam, Jeremiah, AP, Mike, Joe, Pat, Ray, Lauren, Rick, Bill, Pablo, Al, John, Pradrick, Frank, George, Del. Fantastic. All right, so that was Q&A part 2. And again, I'm not going to leave this training until we do a much longer Q&A and everyone's questions are answered. But let's recap where we are at this point. Again, first we talked about that weekly setup, which again talks about the idea that over the last 2 decades, Tuesday has outperformed the overall market. And not only has it beat the market over the last 20 years, it beat the market in 2018. And we all saw just how profitable that was this week. And then we talked about the trend setup, okay, which talked about weeks following a drawdown of between 0.5% to -3% have not only beaten the market over the last 3 decades, but they dominated the market in 2018 and are incredibly profitable just this week. Now, at the beginning of this training, I promised you that you would learn new ideas that would start making money immediately, whether you're a beginner or a pro. So I have to ask you folks, was our time together valuable? Did you enjoy this training? Do you understand now how I'm able to do what I do in the stock market and some of my students are able to get such big time results? And can you see how these setups will allow you to profit immediately, whether you are a beginner or a pro? And do you see how little time and knowledge is really needed to invest? Now, here's the deal, folks. I have complete confidence in you. You all promised me that you were going to go out there and take action on these methods immediately following this training. But while we only spent 45 minutes together, and while we did learn 2 very, very profitable strategies, there's only so much we can go over. Imagine spending more time together, how much more valuable that would be to you. Now, in the beginning, I also promised you an opportunity to join me in taking your next steps together by joining our Market Hero community, which is designed to give you the exact step-by-step formula for crushing in the market and achieving mountains and mountains of success. Because look, folks, yes, the weekly setup has beat the market over the last 2 decades, beat the market in 2018, and is beating the market handedly in 2019. And yes, the trend setup has beat the market over the last 3 decades, beat the market last year, and is having astronomical returns this week. And while those are great, those are only the tip of the iceberg. And Market Hero is designed to get you results big and fast. So why wouldn't you consider something that would practically guarantee your success? Which is why it's my pleasure to extend an exclusive invitation to stock market dominance by becoming a Market Hero today. Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to go into depth about what Market Hero is, and if you think it's right for you, I want you to get it. And if you don't, I don't want you to get it. Plain and simple. Does that sound fair? Very, very cool. So here's the deal. If you want to achieve true financial freedom or supplement your current income or take parts of the profits that we are getting of up to 10.37% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you're a complete beginner, then Market Hero is specifically for you. So here's what's finally going to work for you folks. The first thing you're going to get with Market Hero are my profit-crushing setups so you can make a lot of money. Now, we have over 8 dozen of them, but I'm just going to go over a few right now. Setup number 3 is profitable 91% of the time for an average of 10.75% ROI, and this is a once-a-month trade that we will be doing in the next week. Back in March, one of my members by the name of TC did this, and as you can see, he made $1,700 overnight, which was a 52% return for him. Or what about Ron? Ron says this is a very easy trade to do with very limited market exposure. He made $900 less commissions, and he's super happy. Or what about Ben? I more than made up my membership with the trade. I'm looking forward to more good stuff. Now, we also have setup number 7, the 15-minute window trading day since 2009 that is responsible for 49% of all market returns. Now, back in April, one of my members by the name of Lee, he tried this out. He logged into his account at the exact same time every single day, bought the same stock, held it for 15 minutes, and sold it 15 minutes later, and as you can see, made a $4,000 profit investing just 15 minutes a day back in April. Would you agree with me that this is yet another example of making more money and spending less time doing so? On top of that, we have setup number 14, the 8 days of the year responsible for 36% of all market gains, and we profit in less than 24 hours. John did it, made 42% in 1 day. Silvio did it, made $2,800 in 1 day. Satyajit did it, and he made 28.4% in 1 day. Now, the really cool thing about my profit-crushing setups is not only are they going to show you how to make a lot of money, but they're also going to save you a ton of time and money by getting rid of those newsletters, those books, that financial advisor, those newspapers, those things that never made you a dime in the first place. In fact, our average Market Hero member saves $213 a month when they come on board because they get to get rid of all the stuff that never made them a dime in the first place. Now, it's very, very important to me, actually I say it's critical to me that every single trader, whether you have a cash account, a retirement account, a margin account, a big account, or a small account, Every single type of account, every single type of trader or investor can participate in every single type of strategy that Market Hero has to offer, okay? This is vital to me, but whether you have a $250 account, a $25,000 account, or a $250,000 account, you can participate in every single one of our methods. So again, what you're going to get my profit crushing setups so you can make a lot of money. My automation tools so you can save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be there and click the button for yourself each and every day. You're also going to get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan, which I want to go over very, very quickly. So here's one of our many Market Hero cheat sheets, and all it does is asks you 3 questions about any stock you're looking at. And based on your answer to those 3 questions, it will reveal to you which one of our 8 dozen plus methods is the right trade for that stock on that day. So when you think about this cheat sheets, like imagine you're sitting at home and you're trading all by yourself. But with my cheat sheets, it's really like I am standing over your shoulder telling you exactly what I would do. It completely takes the guesswork out of what setup to follow. It's a step-by-step handheld as investing comes. Now, folks, if you're like me, every single morning you wake up, your hair's on fire, you don't even know where you are, you don't even know what day of the week it is, you definitely don't even know what time it is. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn over and you're going to take a look at your phone. And what you're going to get from me every single morning is a morning game plan. So think about your favorite sporting teams. Manchester United, the New York Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Lakers. They never go into a sporting event blind. Why? Because they have a game plan. This is your game plan each and every day. So what we do is we run a very long and expensive algorithm through our watch list of stocks, and we call this our black book of stocks, and we will reveal to you, based on the data, which are some of the best methods for those stocks on that day. So today, for example, if you wanted to do something in Apple, setup number 1 was the way to go. Or the gold ETF, GLD, setup number 9 was the way to go. And my members love this. The other day, David reached out to me. He says, "You're killing it. I took 14 stocks out of the game plan. 4 are closed today with more than 50% profit targets, and 10 are still running at the green zone. Am I too greedy? I see money laying down on the floor, waiting to be picked up, thanks to you." And that was a couple days ago. Here was earlier today. He says, following your morning game plan, I have normally 10 to 14 open positions, while almost every day 2 to 3 are closing as a winner with 50% profit targets. Today's winners, Avago, Chipotle, Disney. This is absolutely amazing. I don't want to show off, but really this is very easy to do. David has a game plan every day, and I want the exact same for you. So here's what you're going to get. You're going to get those profit crushing setups so you can make a lot of money. My automation tools so you can save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be there to click the button each and every day. You're also going to get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan so you know how to attack the market each and every day. Now, before I said I wanted to do this together. So for that, you will be on my live weekly webinar trainings every single week. Live with me every single week so you can have your questions answered live and see what's working in real time. And if once a week is not good enough for you, you have 24/7 access to my private Facebook mastermind group and email support. So if you have a question about a trade tomorrow, you can literally email me or ask me in the Facebook group, and I can get into your account and help you figure out what's going on. So the total value of Market Hero is $15,583. Okay? But like I told you at the beginning of this training, folks, this training would be worth at least $5,000 to your investments. And I know that we proved that beyond a shadow of a doubt that was dead true. And as you guys also know, I'm not going to charge you $15,583 to get access to the live training every week, to the automation tools, to all my methods. But I have a question for you. What if I did charge you $15,583? Would it be worth it, If all it did was make you very profitable by doing trades just 8 days a year, would it be worth it? Of course, we get to take off the other 357 days. Of course, it would be worth it. Now, if all it did was supplement your income by making a few extra $1,000 every month for the rest of your life in a semi-automated fashion, would it be worth it? Of course, because after a few months, we pay off that 15 grand, and everything on top of that is gravy. So would it be worth it? Absolutely it would. Now, if all it did was by utilizing my daily reminders, allow you to never worry about your finances ever again, and allow you to spend more time with your family and travel, would it be worth it? Come on, folks. Who doesn't want that kind of lifestyle? Because you see the total value in Market Hero. $15,583. But everything in Market Hero is the exact step-by-step blueprint for how I was able to make over $1.5 million of profits in the stock market. You can see, folks, this is a screenshot from today, Thursday, August 8th. Okay? Let me ask you a question. How many of you, if you could, write me a check for $15,583 to learn everything that I learned in my journey to making over $1.5 million of profits in the stock market? It really puts it into a different perspective now, doesn't it? Because Market Hero is not a cost. It's an investment. You see, whether we like to admit it or not, the people around us who are the most successful are the ones who continuously invest in themselves. They invest in their skill, in their mind, in their craft, and in their education because they know the investments that they make in themselves are the ones that generate the greatest returns. Now, do not just take that from me. Let us ask the wealthiest, most successful investor ever, Mr. Warren Buffett, and see if he agrees. He says the most important investment you can make is in yourself. So he does agree. So you can see why it would be a steal at $15,583. But as I told you before, this is a $5,000 offer for the general public. But because you're here with me right now, there's going to be a ton of incentives and a giant, giant discount. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can start today for just one lifetime investment of $997. Now, really quickly, this is not an auto rebuild. This is not a subscription service. There are no other hidden costs or fees. We are not going to randomly charge your card for things in the fine print. This is a one-time investment and you have lifetime access. So let me repeat that again. This is not a subscription. We will not charge your card a year later. This is a one-time investment and there are no other hidden fees or costs. So open up a browser tab, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. Now, if you are thinking that $997 is too much of an investment, here's a handful of our members who made that lifetime investment back just this week. Because on Monday of this week, when the market was in free fall, I got an email from Thang. He said, following your alert on UNG, I sold all today, net gain $1,859, which is 132% in 10 days. Loving how quickly I was able to make a lot of money. Or what about James? On Monday of this week when the market was in free fall, said, Stephen, it was super simple, bought some calls, made over $1,000 in just 24 hours in GDX. Or what about David on Tuesday? Stephen, I wanted to write to you to thank you for your oil trade alert. It was the quickest $4,000 I've ever made. Thank you a million times over. $4,000 just this week. Or what about Mark? Posted in the Facebook group on Tuesday. Close Stephen's latest Beyond trade from Friday for a nice gain of $1,800 today, betting against the herd. Now, I kind of have this saying with my company that if I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours. So for that, I'd like to talk to you about the most generous 30-day double money back guarantee you've ever heard. So please, please, please pay attention right here, folks. First, I ask you to learn and try 5 of our methods. Now, you can try them on real money or you can try them on paper money. That's up to you. And if they do not work out for you in the first 30 days, all you have to do is email my team, let us know that information, and once we verify it, we will instantly reverse your charge right then and there. And the second part goes like this. Now, folks, please pay attention. Not only will I reverse your charge, but I will also write you a personal check for $997 cash for wasting your time. Which means if you invest in Market Hero today by going to stephenbrooks.co/VIP, the worst thing that can happen to you is I write you a check for $997. So what you're going to get my profit crushing setups so you can make a lot of money. You're going to get my automation tools to save yourself a ton of time and allow the system to work for you without you having to be there to click the button each and every day yourself. You're also going to get my done for you tools and cheat sheets and my morning game plan so you know how to attack the market each and every day. And again, you're going to be live with me every single week, not with someone on my team, live with me every single week so you can get your questions answered and see what's working in real time. And on top of that, if once a week is not good enough for you, 24/7 access to my private Facebook mastermind group and email support. Again, the total value being $15,583. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, should I join today? Or should I join today? Well, when you invest today and today only, you will get every single trade I make in real time. Let me repeat that one more time. When you invest today and today only, you will get every single trade I make in real time. Now, as you can see on the screen, in 2018, we did have some substantial results. A very, very high win rate and a very, very high ROI per trade. These are my trade alerts. This is a 10 $3,000 value delivered directly to your phone and email. So you don't just get the playbook, you get every single play that I am running in real time. This bonus alone is worth many, many multiples of what your lifetime investment in Market Hero is today, and you cannot get any more done for you. In fact, this week on Wednesday, I got a very lovely note by one of my members by the name of Stephanie. She says, before joining your program, there would have been no way I would not have lost money in the last 2 weeks. But following what you did, not only did I not lose any money, but I booked 11 winning trades by following your trade alerts. I literally cannot even believe it. To see what you are doing in real time not only gives me a ton of confidence, but also gifted me a nice $2,895 in the last 2 weeks while the market was super volatile. I have already referred a handful of my friends to Market Hero due to my recent success. That was on Wednesday of this week. On Tuesday of this week, I got a really awesome note from one of my members by the name of Kyle. Take a look at the text in red. I can't believe that it's over a month actually since I joined your service. I have taken all the trades that you have sent and they have all been profitable. If this continues over the course of a year, I will actually have a real retirement plan, so I will be able to supplement my Social Security income. How amazing is that? Now, I want to sweeten the deal even more for you. So when you invest today and today only, not only will you have lifetime access to my live weekly webinar trainings, all my methods, my automation tools, but on top of that, in the next few weeks, you and I are going to get on the phone for a one-on-one consultation. Now, a one-on-one consultation for everyone else walking on the street, it does cost them $997. But because you're here with me today, it will be absolutely free to you. Now, you and I are going to get on the phone, not someone else on my team, you and I. We're going to talk about what's working for you, what isn't working for you, and what your goals are, and we're going to figure out how to get from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time. Okay, so open up those browser tabs, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP, and invest in yourself today. Remember, folks, this is for $997 for lifetime access, okay? This is not a subscription service. This is not an automatic rebill. This is a one-time investment, and we will not randomly charge your card, and there are no other hidden fees or costs or things in the fine print. And remember, folks, this is for lifetime access, fully backed by our very, very generous 30-day double money back guarantee plus $997 cash. Now, we have done a deal with PayPal credit for our U.S. customers. So if you are an international customer, you can still pay with credit card, but if you live in the United States, you can go over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP. There will be a blue button at the bottom of the page that says Pay with PayPal. You can click on that and head on over to PayPal. And if you check out via PayPal credit, PayPal will give you your $997 investment today, and then you will enter into a payment plan with payments as low as $27 a month. So if you do live in the United States and you want to check out via PayPal credit, you can get started today and pay later. Now, there's a great book out there by Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if any of you have read it, but it's a very good book on personal finance. It's been a New York Times bestseller for years. And in the book, one of the things that the author talks about is the phrase, I can't afford it, or it costs too much. Like, I know this stock would provide me a 50% return on my investment, but I just can't afford it. And Robert Kiyosaki, he asks a much better question. He asks, how can I afford it? He says, the statement, I can't afford it, it shuts down your thinking. But by asking the right question, your mind starts to open up and look for answers, and it becomes much more resourceful. It's definitely a mind shift change, right? Because here's the deal. The successful people like you and I, we don't think about how much it costs. We think about ROI. We think about return on investment. So think about it. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? I believe you can either make money or you can make excuses. If you want to make money, then get all the help you need. If you want to make excuses, then don't complain. Don't complain about why you're stuck. Do not complain about why you are not getting results that you want. Don't complain because you've hesitated long enough. Today is the day, folks. You've hesitated and waited long enough, and today is the day you say it is my time. I'm going to do it because my future is worth it, my family is worth it, and I am worth it. So again, folks, if you want to achieve true financial freedom, or supplement your current income, or take parts of the profits that we're getting of up to 10.37% per trade, and you want to do it all by following a proven, modular, step-by-step framework that will leave no guesswork, even if you're a complete beginner, then Market Hero is specifically for you. So there it is, folks. Again, lifetime access is not a subscription service. When you invest today and today only, Rather than paying $5,000, you get it for less than $1,000, and you get trade alerts and a one-on-one consultation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit of a swig of water, and I see we have plenty of questions going on in the chat box right now. So after I take the swig of water, I'll go ahead and answer all of these questions. Do you have a monthly charge? No, we do not. We do not. Yeah, so with PayPal credit, again, it's interest free for 6 months. So if you pay back in 3 months, there's no problem. Again, you can with PayPal credit, you can get started today and pay later. There you go. Have read over half of his books. I don't have any books. So yeah. Cool. All right, let me start going over some questions here. So first question from Nancy. Steven, I have $10,000. What should I invest in? Well, here's the deal, Nancy. If you're saying, Steven, I have 10K, I don't know what to invest in, then you're not going to like my answer, but here's the truth. You need to invest in yourself, okay? Rather than me telling you which stock or which trade to make, you have to invest in yourself so that you have that education, you have that skill set to be able to determine what to do with that money. Now, whether you invest with me or invest with someone else, that's up to you, but you need to invest in yourself so that you have that education, you have that knowledge to be able to decide what to do with that money. Okay, cool. Question from Doug. If I don't buy the course right now, can I still get it? When and how? So Doug, Market Hero is not a course. I do not believe you can become a pro at anything because you bought a course or you read a couple books or you watched like a YouTube video. Okay, I believe the only way you can become a pro at something is if you get that information and then you're able to work with someone in a mentorship type of position. So that's what Market Hero is. You really get the best of both worlds. Yes, you get all of my tools, the automation tools, all my trades, the studies, the cheat sheets, blah, blah, blah. But then you get me live every single week in a webinar training. You get to see the trades I'm making in real time. I mean, that's why it's the best of both worlds. And we have the Facebook group and email support so you can get your questions answered all day, every day. That's why we have such excellent results, because it's not a course. It is a community. And yes, Doug, you can totally come on board outside of this training. However, you will not get the bonuses. And rather than being in for lifetime access, $997, you're going to have to pay $5,000. Cool. Bernice, the money back guarantee seems amazing. Can you explain this one more time? Sure, Bernice. So all I ask you is to learn and try 5 of our methods in the first 30 days. Now, you can try them on paper money or you can try them on real money. So Bernice, let's say you try them on paper money. You risk 0 real capital. 0 real capital. And if they do not work out for you in the first 30 days, Bernice, all you got to do is send that information over to my team. Once they verify it, they'll reverse your charge, and I'll write you a check for $997 cash. So Bernice, if you invest today and you don't risk any real money, so you try our methods on paper money, the absolute worst thing that can happen to you, the absolute worst thing that can happen to you is that you make $1,000 on the deal. Now, Bernice, I don't know about you, but if there's ever a deal where the worst thing that can happen to me is I make $1,000, I would sign up every day of the week. A question from Johnny. What if I miss one of the weekly webinar trainings? So Johnny, in all likelihood, you will definitely miss one of the weekly webinar trainings, and that's okay. You will always have an opportunity to ask a question before the training. And whether you are there or whether you're there live or not, I will still answer your question. And you will see the answer either live or in the recording that we post in the members area, usually the next day. So even if you can't come and there's no way you're going to be able to make every single one, you will still have the opportunity to get all of your questions answered. Very cool. Very cool. Mary Ann, Steven, I'm a full-time teacher and I don't know if I have enough time to do this. What do you think? Well, Mary Ann, how much time in a given week do you think you have to devote to this? Right, so you said about an hour. Let me ask you a question, Marianne. How much time do you think it would take you to do something like the weekly setup? Right, so you said 5 minutes. So let me ask you a new question, Marianne. Do you think you have enough time to devote to this? Exactly my point. Right, cool. Question from Lee. Steven, is it okay for me even if I live in Singapore? Yes, it is. So we have members from the United States, Canada, the UK, Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands, France, Saudi Arabia, Singapore,
Australia, and New Zealand. So we have folks from all over the globe. In fact, right now, Lee, 45% of our members live outside of the United States. So yes, it would definitely work for you. In Singapore specifically, allows a lot of the US-based brokerages as well. Let me see here. Question from Kevin C. How can you give such a generous money-back guarantee like that? Sure, glad you asked. So here's the deal. The reason we can give such a generous money-back guarantee like that is as follows. By the end of month 1, 79% of our members have made their investment back. By the end of month 2, 88% of our members have made that investment back. And by the end of month 3, 3 members ever have not made that investment back. So the reason I can do that is not only because I have such a high success rate, I want to give you every reason to have this investment in Market Hero be risk-free and give you every reason to say yes today. Okay? So again, Kevin, 79% of our members have made their investment back by the end of month 1. By the end of month 2, 88% of our members have made that investment back. And again, by the end of month 3, there's only been 3 members ever who have not made that investment back. Very, very cool. Let's see. Do you require one to place trades during market hours? So we went back, Gail, and we looked through all of our alerts from 2018. And actually, the numbers came out like this. If you can't get to the trade alert the same day, 63% of the time, you were able to get filled at a better price the next day. So even if you can't see it same day, and let's say you look at it at night or the next morning, 63% of the time you'll be able to get filled at a better price the next day. Not the same price, a better price the next day. Very, very cool. There are not 18 setups. There are 8 dozen setups. And we are always adding to that list. Again, I have a data team of 3 data engineers who are adding to that list all the time. So we have 8 dozen methods, and they are growing all the time. Let's see here. Question from Gina. What if the strategies in Market Hero don't work out for me? So Gina, I'll say 2 things about that. Number 1, again, it's fully backed by our very, very generous double money back guarantee. So if you risk no real capital and try these things on paper money, the worst thing that can happen to you is you make $1,000 in the deal. And again, I said it before, I'll say it again. If there's ever a situation, a deal, where the worst thing that can happen to me is I make $1,000, I mean, come on, count me in every day of the week. And the second thing I'll say is, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but whatever, there have been times my data team has given me a new trade and I've just kind of sat on it. I've monitored it. And I can't even begin to tell you, Gina, how many tens of thousands of dollars I have left on the table because I did not take action with what was so obvious in front of me. To me, there's a giant opportunity cost in not taking action today with this price and these bonuses. So all you need to do, Gina, is open up that browser tab, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP. And if you are having any difficulties coming on board today if you are having any difficulties coming on board with Market Hero today, email me at support@stonybrookssecurities.com with your phone number. We have it kind of down here in the bottom right-hand, I don't know why that showed up, in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And I'll give you a call after the training to see if there's something we can work out. How are you able to do this for only $9.97 if you have a team that is data mining and putting out these trades? Brad, do quite well for myself trading. And this is a very big passion for me to be able to help other people. So I'm doing just fine, to say the least. Niaz, since you have such high confidence that your strategies will work, how come you're offering a one-time access? You could charge a monthly basis as other people do. I'm just curious. Yeah, that's my prerogative. I've been doing this for a long time. We have well over 1,000 members now. And again, I make quite a bit, as you all saw, trading. So the Market Hero program is not my primary source of income, not by a long shot, actually. Gail, can one receive a refund if your methods just don't seem to be a good fit? I mean, you have to try this stuff. I mean, again, you have to try this stuff. If you try the methods, again, you can try them on paper money. So you risk 0 real capital. and they don't work out for you, the worst thing that can happen is I write you a check for $997. That's the worst thing that can happen for you. Will this work for stocks or just options? So Michael, we trade stocks and options. We don't do Forex and we don't do futures. So it's stocks and options. Cool.
Yeah, let me.
Do you have a download software? No, we do not. Steve, what do you got, man?
Just let me jump in. Everybody, the price of this is not because he's making a big discount. It's because he and I work deals together, and this is exclusively for the Candlestick Forum people that come on here. So, and also you can see that there's in some of his testimonials that his members are very loyal to him. Obviously, you can see he's got a lot of energy, so it's not like you're going to get a sluggish program. It's well worth the money. So, anyways, this is good additional information to have in your mental toolbox. So, again, this is a one-time price that he's doing because he and I do special deals together. So, with that, give it a try. I mean, giving you money back guarantee, so it's not like you're shooting money out into the. That's all I had. Thanks, Steve.
Very cool. And Becky or someone else in Candlestick can add the link again to the chat. That would be super helpful. But again, it's stephenbrooks.co/VIP. And these bonuses, folks, like, I'm not trying to pressure everyone, but they are today and today only. So if you maybe are a little bit on the fence, for example, or maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll figure out in a couple of days, or maybe you're right for me in a couple of weeks. I would definitely recommend you go ahead and make that investment today, just so we can get you in with the price and the bonuses. Okay? Very cool. Let me rephrase. Must I download software? No, there is no software to download. All of our automation can be done on any online brokerage account. There is no software to download. No, there's none of that. Let's see here. We got some more questions here. So, Brian K. Stephen, I am a complete newbie. Do you have other members who are also newbies? Yes, we do. I think about 12% of our members are completely green. I like working with them because there are far less bad habits to break for newbies. But again, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in a Facebook group, and they're talking to each other all day, every day. You don't need Facebook because there's nothing I post in the Facebook group that doesn't also get sent over email. But we have members who are talking all day, every day, who are meeting up in real life, who are discussing these things. So there are a lot. The cool thing about Market Hero at this point is there are so many people in the program that everyone is there to help other people, and it's just really become an awesome, awesome thing. So about 12% of our members are newbies, and again, I like newbies because there are far less bad habits to break. Question from Bill. Do I have to know technical analysis to have Market Hero work for me? No. We will never, ever, ever, ever talk about technical analysis. We will not talk about the Fibonacci. We'll not talk about trend lines or indicators or any of that stuff. We will not talk about any of that whatsoever. Remember, I told you that the purpose of this training was to show you how to make more money and save time doing so. It's the same thing with Market Hero. We do not use any charting or technical analysis whatsoever. Not required. Marianne, are there any other charges besides $997? No. Ken, do your strategies work in a self-directed IRA? My IRA is at TD Ameritrade. Yes, Ken. So if you remember that slide, cash accounts, retirement accounts, margin accounts, big accounts, small accounts, every single type of trader, every single size of account or type of account can participate in everything that Market Hero has to offer. Question from Kathy. I prefer to trade just options. So will that be okay with Market Hero? Yes. We are stocks and options. We are not Forex, and we are not futures. We are stocks and options. How many alerts on average are sent out per week? Sure. So what we promise is anywhere between 0 and 10 a week. It's never been 0, but there's like 1 week a year where I take vacation. So if the market is more active, like it has been this week, we do send out a little bit more because there's more opportunity for us. If it's a little bit slower, we send out a little bit less. But again, the reason we're able to maintain such a high win rate is because we don't overtrade. If there's a really good opportunity that gives us a really good chance of making money, we take advantage of it. And if there's not, we don't. We play the long game here. When do alerts come out? So alerts come out as soon as I actually get filled on my order. So we give the information we give is which stock, what the price is, or if it's an option, the strike price, the expiration, the profit target, the stop loss, all that stuff. And then if we have to make an adjustment on a trade, which does happen, I also follow up with that. I really hate the idea of telling people the trades I'm doing and then not following up on it, whether I'm adjusting it or making a closing order. So yeah, that is, as soon as I get filled, we go ahead and send out the trade. So you're not getting trade ideas, you're getting the actual trades that I am doing in real time. Cool. Yeah, and they're sent out just when I send them. They're just sent out when I actually make the trades. So again, like at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time this Monday, when the trend setup was to go, I came up with a trade, I got filled, and then I sent it out to my members, and they were able to see exactly what I did, and clearly it's been a very, very, very profitable trade this week. Let's see. Do alerts come out as text or email? So right now they are email and phone, and we are always trying to add different alerting mechanisms to make sure that everyone, no matter where they are, will also get alerted. So right now they're email and phone, but we're trying Facebook, we're trying a bunch of different things to make sure that everyone can always be notified, no matter where they are, that a trade is being executed. Mr. Brooks, this has been very interesting. I'm definitely anxious to start trying some of your trades. Cool, fantastic. Jeremiah, I'm in. Absolutely, totally, very, very cool. All right, we got some more questions here. Mohammed, how much research do you think I will need to do to figure out which stocks to buy with the strategies? Okay, Mohammed, I'm going to make you do this. How much research do you think you would need to do on something like the trend setup? Right, so you said no research. So let me ask you your own question. How much research do you think you will need to do? Right, so you say zero. So exactly. So look, I do a lot of the upfront work for you because my goal for Market Hero is to have you make more money and save time doing so. So Mohammed, you answered your own question. Open up that browser tab, head on over to stephenbrooks.co/VIP and invest in yourself today. And again, if you are having any questions coming on board Market Hero, definitely email me at support@stonybrookssecurities.com with your phone number, and I'll give you a buzz tonight, see if we can work something out. Douglas, Stephen, the price seems a little steep. Can you talk to me about that? Sure, Douglas. So here's what I'll say about that. It never ceases to amaze me, Douglas, how people think nothing about going on a vacation or buying a new car or buying the next most expensive iPhone. People think nothing when it comes to that. Well, all of a sudden, when it comes to investing in financial education, all of a sudden it becomes like a big deal. 2 years ago, I was speaking at a 2-day live event. I was the first speaker on Saturday morning to kind of get the crowd going. And after I spoke, I turned around, I sat down in the front row because I wanted to hear what the other speakers were talking about. And about 30 minutes into the second speaker's, his presentation, I stood up, I turned around, and I started walking towards the back of the room. And I handed the young lady sitting back there my credit card. And she said, wait a second, Stephen, you don't even know what he's selling. You don't know what you're buying. You don't know if it's a DVD, if it's a seminar, you don't know what it is. I don't care. I want what he's selling. Charge my card. And she said, well, wait a second, Stephen. You don't even know the price. You don't even know if it's a subscription or a one-time fee. He said, I don't care. If I can learn one thing from this person, I know I will get a return on that investment. I did the exact same thing for the third speaker and the exact same thing for the fourth speaker on that day. So at the end of the event, the moderator of the event, the owner of the event, his name is Rob, he came up to me and said, hey, Stephen, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, what's up? He goes, why did you bother spending that money on those other programs? You've made more money than those people. You're a better speaker than those people. Why'd you bother doing that? I said, how the hell do you think I became a millionaire? Because on that day, I must have spent about $7,000 on my financial education. But over the course of the next year, I made over $100,000 just from the methods that I learned from those programs. How many of you think that's a good deal? How many of you think that's a bargain? To write a check for $7,000 and to make over 13 times your money in a year. In fact, give me a 7,000 in the chat if you think that is a good deal. If you think that's a bargain, spend 7,000 but make 100,000 over the course of the next year. Right? Exactly. Okay? We are offering you that opportunity today for significantly less. Question from Joey. My account is only $2,500. I don't feel like I can get meaningful returns from that. So here's the deal, folks. The time has run out. However, we will extend the price and the bonuses until this training is over. So don't worry if you didn't get in now. We're going to extend the price and bonuses until this training is over. I still see we have a bunch of questions. So the question from Joey is, my account is only $2,500. I don't feel like I can get meaningful returns from that. So here's the deal, Joey. I do have a member by the name of Josiah, who is a 23-year-old truck driver from the northwest part of the United States. Okay? Now, he came on board about a year ago or so, maybe a little bit more. And he did not have enough money to open his first ever online brokerage account. So he sold his laptop for $1,000, took that money and put it into a trading account. So he trades directly from his phone, and he actually listens to our live trainings every single week directly from his phone too. So he turned his account in the first year from $1,000 to $5,000. Now, you might be saying, well, $4,000 isn't a lot of money, but he made 4 times on his money. Imagine what he's going to be able to do year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Imagine how much money he's going to be worth in 10 years. Because it's not about making a ridiculous amount of money now. It's about learning how to make money consistently and then learning how to grow to your account via compounding and managing your account. So even if you only have $2,500 now, Joey, that doesn't mean you can't have a boatload down the road once we teach you how to consistently profit and grow the account conservatively, but also in a smart way. Make sense? Right, like Brad's saying, consistency is the key. Very, very cool. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, not sure what that says. That's fine. Okay, question from Robert L. I feel like I have maybe an hour a week to trade. Is that okay? Yeah, Robert, we already answered that question. If you feel like you have an hour a week, ask yourself, how long do you think it would take you to do the weekly setup or the trend setup, right? Not much time. Very cool. Let's see if there are some more questions here. Answer that one, answer that one, answer that one. So if I did not, there's been a lot of questions that have been asked. So if I did not get to your question, do me a favor, please re-ask it. There are a lot of questions here in the chat box. So if you wouldn't mind, please re-ask your questions if I have not answered them yet. My apologies, but there's just a lot of questions going on right here. Brad, do you find that people gravitate to certain types of trades that you put out instead of trying to do them all? That's a good question. There are some folks who just, all they do is follow my trades, and that's okay. There are some folks that do certain ones, and then they add their own, right? So it really depends, but the cool thing is, Brad, you get to go ahead and ask hundreds and hundreds of Market Hero members exactly what they're doing and be able to get great feedback on how you can basically get involved very, very quickly. Does that make sense, Brad? Cool. Rick T, is the $9.97 offer good till midnight or end of the presentation? Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to try to wrap this up by the end of the presentation. So if you do have any questions, Rick, and you're maybe a little bit on the fence, definitely ask me now because we only have like a certain amount of slots that are available at this price with these bonuses, and they might already be taken. So I just want to make sure that you come on board pretty quickly. So if you do have any questions, Rick, feel free to ask now. Cool, Michael. Awesome. Very nice, Brad. Yeah, Rick, if you do have any questions, I would definitely advise you to ask it now. Are Brooks Blueprint you associated with? I don't know what Brooks Blueprint is. I don't know what Brooks Blueprint is. Yeah, sorry, Mitch. I don't know what Brooks Blueprint is. Can you show the rules of trend setup again? Yeah, so here's the deal, Mike. If the S&P 500 for a week is down between 0.5% to -3%, then we basically buy the S&P 500 the next week and hold it for the whole week. Hey, Mitch, yeah, I don't know who Brooks Blueprint is. So, Gail, if you're having any difficulties, definitely email my support team, support@stonybrooksecurities.com with your phone number, and we'll give you a call after this if you're having any difficulties coming on board. Does that make sense, Gail? Very, very cool. Sure. There's a couple other stats I'll throw out there because I really don't see any other questions, but I think this would probably be helpful for folks. 45% of our members live outside of the United States. So it's not like this is just like a US-based program with US-based customers. We have a lot of members, but 45% of them live outside of the United States. So we don't just cater to the US folks, we cater to everyone. 85% of our members also have full-time day jobs. So one of the reasons that this is all about making more money and saving time doing so is because we have to cater to our largest audience, which is those who have full-time day jobs. Okay? So the reason that, you know, what we do with the weekly trainings, all of our methods, the goal is, again, have you make more money and save time doing so. Our average Market Hero member spends about 10 minutes a day looking at their investments after their third month because they really get the hang of it and they're really able to focus on only the things they need to focus on. Okay? So again, 85% of our members have full-time day jobs. So if you're thinking that you know, this, you don't have enough time to do this, I have nearly 1,000 members that might disagree with you. Very cool. So I'll hang around here for about 30 more seconds and I'll see if there are any other questions. Again, folks, lifetime access, not a subscription. And when you invest today and today only, rather than paying 5Gs, it's just $997, and you get to see every single trade that I'm running in real time and a free one-on-one consultation. So I'll hang around here for another 30 seconds. If I do not see any other questions, I'll go ahead and kick it back to Mr. Bigelow. We're both Stephen B. That's kind of cool. I like that. If I don't see other questions here, we'll kick it back to him, and then I'll spend the rest of my night working with my brand new members of Market Hero. Yeah. Cool, Brad. Welcome. Yes, email my team with your phone number, support@stonybrookssecurities.com. To the bottom right here. Right here. To the bottom right here. So yeah, Rick, Frank, how do you set stop losses on the setup you showed tonight? Sure, Tony. So we have that all in the members area for all of our members to see what stop losses are perfect for all the different trades. Frank, call me, send email. Frank, make sure you give us the phone number. Rick, make sure you email us at support@stonybrookssecurities.com with your phone number. And then we'll give you a buzz if you're having any difficulties. And same with you, Gail. Works for either long or short? Yes. So we're not just long. Again, some of the trades that you saw, some of the testimonials that you saw, right? So we did a trade in Beyond Meat that was bearish, did really well. We did a trade that was bearish oil this week, did very well. We did a trade that was bullish in GDX, did very, very well. We did a trade in silver this week that did very, very well. We did a trade in Uber today that after hours is looking very, very well, and that was bearish. So it's not just bullish stuff. Again, we see a good opportunity, bullish or bearish, we go ahead and we try to take advantage of it. Yeah, so Jay, like I mentioned before, PayPal credit is only for US customers, okay? Unfortunately, it's not a us thing, it's a PayPal thing, and they just don't do that for international customers, okay? But you can still pay via credit card, and Jay, if you're having any difficulties whatsoever, feel free to just email us at support@stonybrookssecurities.com with your phone number, and we'll give you a buzz after this and see if we can help you out. Does that make sense, Jay? And Lee, yes, this is not just long. We bet stocks are going to go down. We bet stocks are going to go up. We bet they're going to go sideways. It doesn't matter. If we see an opportunity, that's it. Does that make sense, Lee? Welcome, Tim. Cool. What's up, Michael? Well, welcome, big guy. Yeah, so again, folks, gonna hang around here for another 30 seconds or so. Again, how do I type that in there? If someone on Candlestick can type in support@stonybrookssecurities.com into the chat, it'll be easier. I know that's like a very long email address, but it's support@stonybrookssecurities.com. So if you are having any difficulties whatsoever investing today, not www, just support@stonybrookSecurities.com. Yeah, if you're having any difficulty whatsoever, PayPal credit or any of that stuff, just email us. Thank you, Brad. At support@stonybrookSecurities.com with your phone number, and in all likelihood, I'll just give you a buzz after this to see what's going on if we can help you out there. Very cool. Now, I do not see any other questions. So before I kick it back to, Mr. Bigelow, do me a favor. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure everyone learned something on all the live trainings that I did. So if you learned something new on this training, give me a 88 in the chat. If you're still on the training and you learned something brand new, I want to make sure that in every training I do, people learn things. So give me an 88 in the chat if you learned something brand new on this training. So thank you, Brad, Jay, George, Frank, Jeremiah, A. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do not see any other questions, but if you have them, just email us. I'm going to kick it back to Stephen B. over there. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Steve. Everybody, take a look at this information quick because, again, we've worked out a good deal, and you're going to get well more than your money's worth. And if it's not for you, you're going to get your money back. So this is good information. This is what gives you a jump start. That if you're trying to learn to trade successfully, use somebody's technique that is trading successfully. So with that, everybody have a good evening. Thank you, Stephen. We'll see everybody in the chat.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.